पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्ष स्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः अग्रे वह्निः पृष्ठे भानुः रात्रौ चुबुकसमर्पितजानुः करतलभिक्ष स्तरुतलवासः तदपि न मुञ्चत्याशापाशः. So this verse talks about again another type of individuals who are trying to get rid of the desires by leading a life of austerity. So here the title is "They are fooled by austerity." So what are they done? The verse describes of a person who has practiced asceticism externally. You must understand this. He's lived a life of austerity, a life of an ascetic, but he's practiced externally. So he's lived a life of asceticism, fire in the front, the sun behind, knees tucked to chin at night, receiving alms in palms, living under trees. So he lives a life of barest minimum. He doesn't have a roof over his head. He doesn't even have a bowl or a plate to receive alms. He lives a life of complete dispossession. And yet what happens? Tadapina munchat asha pindam. Yet the noose of desires leaves not. Huh? What do you mean by the word noose? Sidhuji, noose na sir? The term therima, noose na?
It's a trap. We catch, we noose, with noose we catch rats and all. It's a...
Others also want to come in, sir. Yes, Vijayji.
I think Guruji, it stands for it tightens further when you struggle.
I'm sorry?
It tightens further when you struggle.
It gets a firmer grip of you, isn't it? Yes. Something which it clings to you, you know, and then it gets a firmer grip of you. As rightly said, you know, you get caught up. So the noose of desires, the band of desires leaves not. Asha, pasha. So what we are trying to get at is you can't deal with these desires either through indulgence or through abstinence. So you can practice asceticism externally, but asceticism is not dispossession. So please don't try to think you must get rid of your possessions to become spiritual. You cannot become spiritual. You cannot get to that state of getting rid of desires by getting rid of your possessions. It's easy to get rid of possessions. Getting rid of possession is, in the language we just spoke, Vaitama, what Aribidji just answered, getting rid of possessions is?
Austerity.
No, it is not austerity. In fact, in the gunas we just spoke.
Oh, okay. Tamasic. Not maybe sattvic. Tamasic, I think.
Tamas and sattva are very almost very same, you know. They look the same.
Sattvic person.
Make up your mind, huh? Make up your mind. See, the verse is giving a picture of a person who has tried to live asceticism externally.
Right.
It is not asceticism externally, but it's an internal state.
Mm-hmm.
So, to which I'm explaining, asceticism externally is to dispossess. So asceticism is not dispossession of wealth. Then I asked, to it, Architji has clarified in the gunas, where does this qualify? The dispossession. Okay.
Tamasic person, maybe.
In fact, it is there. It falls into that. In fact, how do you classify this with reference to the gunas? It's just 3 words. You put it, you get the gist of it. You get the real crux of it. Tamas is dispossession. Rajas is possession and being possessed. Sattva is an attitude of dispossessiveness. It's like hitting the hammer on the head. Hit the bullseye with these 3 words.
That's not being attached to your possessions.
Not being attached to your possessions. Can you repeat the 3 words, Ma? The 3 things. Tamas is?
Not having possessions.
Dispossession, yes. Rajas is?
Someone who has possessions and is possessed.
One who has possession and he is?
Possessed.
Possessed. By what?
By his possessions. Possessed by desires and possessions. Yeah.
Desires and his possessions. And Sattva is?
Someone who does not, is not attached to his possessions.
Just using the same language, you're right, not attached, is a dispossessive attitude to your possessions. So you possess it, you enjoy it, you're not possessed by it. So you have a detached attitude to the possession. This is Sattva. So austerity or spiritual asceticism is not dispossession, is to cultivate a dispossessive attitude. But people who don't have this inner perception practice spirituality externally. They live a life of dispossession, but they have not got rid of the desires. It's like a noose around them. It's got hold of them. So there's no use. You must understand the inner element of spirituality, not the outer skeleton. So people are holding on to the outer skeletons of spiritual practices and miss the inner message. So you can use this again to evaluate yourself. How much of tamas, rajas, or sattva is there with reference to your things and beings that you're relating with day in and day out? Whether you are getting rid of something out of ignorance or out of dispossession, you're getting rid of it, or you're extremely attached to something, or you're truly risen above it. But asceticism is not dispossession. So the extent of one's possession and the extent of one's enjoyment doesn't determine the state of the mind. So the mental state of dispossession is not determined by possession and enjoyment. You must understand this. Yes, Hirenji.
So with that respect, this type of a person, where does he fall within our 3 categories of gunas? Because they are not exactly tamasic, because literally they are giving away their things, but they may not be happy, right? Because mentally they may not be, most likely they are not being mentally elevated to the position of Brahman.
Yes.
So where do they fall, this kind of a person?
You mean the category in verse 16?
Yeah, in categories of the 3 categories we have, tamas, rajas, and sattva.
Okay.
And this kind of a person, what you described, that externally they are getting rid of their things. Because what I see that we have these huge Kumbh Mela, or I'm from Assam, in Kamakhya, we get a lot of huge number of people. They don't have any possessions, but whether they are internally elevated, I don't know. They may be. I'm not saying that they are not, but are they really a happy person, or are they in peace of their own mind? So I'm just wondering, where do they fall exactly?
It is in fact tamasic, because if you understand, a rajasic person is chasing the possessions.
Yeah.
And he is constantly possessed by his possessions.
Okay.
You have possessed a car, and then you're possessed by your car.
Okay.
You have bought a dream car. Then what? Constant agony.
Yeah.
You parked your car outside. I hope people don't come and
Take it away.
no. Take it away is one thing. People scratch it, or some get damages. Somebody doesn't bump into it, or somebody doesn't play pranks with it. Yeah, constant pain and agony, isn't it? You put a pure white carpet you put in your house, and then constant agony. Everybody walks into the house. I hope their feet are clean. Every time you're worried. I hope nothing spilled onto the carpet. No, why do you have to put a pure white carpet and go through the pain and agony? I don't understand. Right. So that's attachment. Rajas is attachment. Tamas is where you give it away in the perception of belief that that's spirituality. Sattva is measured with not the physical possession, but the state of mind. So out of ignorance, one gives it away, thinking that is renunciation. But renunciation is not renouncing objects. Renunciation is
inaction.
Yeah, you are in action, means you're keeping in touch with the object, you're enjoying the object, your contact with it, yet in a resignation. You're mentally no value for it. So that inward resignation is to be measured.
Okay.
So extent of possession or enjoyment doesn't determine the state of your mind. So it's a dispossessive attitude. Now the question is, when does one get to this state of dispossessive attitude? Or how does one develop this attitude of dispossessiveness? You can have a job, you're not possessed by your job. You can have a family, you're not possessed by a family. You have wealth, you're not possessed by your wealth.
By leading a life of what you said about dharma, right? You do your work and leave the results for a higher purpose by giving or sacrificing, right?
But then would it not be the same as what this verse is practicing, giving away?
No, what I'm saying is that you live your normal life, do your work,
okay,
but it's for a higher purpose, not only for yourself, like a rajasic person, but it is by giving away, for not giving away everything, but you can.
Don't worry, sir. Don't worry. You don't have to give away anything. It is just attitude. It's just attitude. You work for a higher cause. You work for a higher cause. I get what you're saying. Looks like Harishji has got some steps he has sent me. I'm going to ask him. He says 6 elements of detachment. So he's got the steps. Please mention, Harishji, what are they?
Guruji, I'm humbled because, the limited intellect may not remember all the 6 which you had told, but it starts with, you can only renounce and be detached, 1, when there is an object which you would like, which of desire. The first point is the object exists. or the second is you have the ability to get that object. Third
Oh, you're
is,
talking, if I can, sorry, Jay, if I could interrupt here. Oh, you're talking about that we discussed the other day, or yesterday, if I'm not wrong.
yes,
That may be slightly difficult to capture it in the given time. It will, in fact, only going to unsettle the understanding. Maybe we can come back to it the following week, if you don't mind, G. But just to leave you all with the thoughts that Sattva, as Setuji, I think he posted a couple of times, is Rajas is a taker, and Sattva is to live a life of a giver. So giving here is nothing but a life of sacrifice, living a life where your actions are in line towards a larger cause, a larger interest. And that is when you will not be enslaved by the desires and its attachments. See, possessiveness is nothing but an attachment. Dispossessive is detachment. So, and detachment or renunciation is an escalation to a higher level. So when you are established in the higher, then you are detached to the lower. And that's possible only when you shift your focus and attention to something else, something higher, then you're detached to the lower. Because you're established there, you are not caught up to the lower. So it's a reflection of where you're investing your thoughts and your mental resources. So if you're investing your thoughts on the higher, then the lower doesn't, you're not enslaved by whatever that life subjects you through, because you're detached to it. That's Sattva, where you have a dispossessive attitude. You maintain a certain inner charm. It doesn't have a toll on you. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't affect you, whatever it is. Okay. What we must understand is easy to give away possessions, but it's difficult to give up the possessiveness. You can give away possessions. Maybe you're sick and tired of it, you give it away. But it's very difficult to give up the possessive attitude you have tagged onto it. So be mindful. Just be mindful. Yes, Sedramanji.
Here I would like to tell Guruji, people even after gifting something, they keep telling, I have gifted this. See, even next generation says, my grandfather gifted this place, and they claim that property, or they keep on telling everyone. So this that relates to this, what you say. Dispossessiveness, still people possess. Future generations also keep on possessing what has been given by their forefathers.
So how do? You announce it. If you do some charity somewhere, you put a permanent board there. Donated by so-and-so, in memory of so-and-so. You want to say, why do you have to announce your service if at all you want to do? The greatest of service is unheard, unsung. You don't have to advertise your services. There's still a possessiveness, as rightly said, when you do charity. I've seen many places, you put a signage. Why do you have to do signage? Is that what you're referring to, Setuji?
Yeah.
So it loses its charm. It loses its sanctity. It's rajasic in nature. So you go to many institutions where the institution runs on donations or charity. Many, you find most of them have their names Other day we had gone at what do you think? Japanese embassy, huh? Isn't it, Setuji?
Yeah,
I think the Japanese embassy had built a particular structure, and outside a huge board saying built by the Japanese embassy. Now, why do they have to advertise? I don't understand. Well, there are various kinds of givers, there are various levels of givers. A true giver would not want any recognition. There's no possessiveness. Nature is giving so much. Does it have any arrogance to it? The tree yields fruits. Does it arrogate to it? Earth yields vegetation. Does it arrogate it? Providence is providing constantly. Is there any arrogation to it? Why should you arrogate it? That spoils it all. It's like a drop of lime in milk. Just do it because you have an obligation. You do so much to your children. Do you advertise it to your child? Do you have a list of all that you have given to your child right from childhood to your child? Setuji, you have brought up your children. You have given so much to them. Have you kept an account of all what you have done for my son's education in college? This much you spent, and you put it somewhere and frame it and keep it?
no.
Why not? Why one doesn't do that? You say, I've done my duty. What is a big deal about it, isn't it?
Yes.
Same way, if you feel you're obliged to be of some service to someone, just do it. No, why do you have to advertise it? You don't go and advertise to the whole world what you have done to your family, to your kith and kin. You don't advertise it. So the moment you do it with an ulterior motive, it spoils it all. You're right. You're very right. Okay. Yes, Hirenji, we'll have to conclude. You're overshot actually, but please.
Just a quick question. Suppose if someone wants to give something to society in the name of their respective parents, okay, we a lot of people we normally do about it, okay, in the parents' name or somebody, in memory of this and this. How do you, without giving, say, my name or somebody who is giver's name, how do you call it? I mean, is it justifiable or just give it? That's enough.
Just give it, sir.
Okay.
Don't attach any slings to it.
Okay.
Just do it. And the best of thing is just do it anonymously.
Yeah.
With no recognition, you don't even expect a gratitude from the receiver. You do it because you find obliged to do it. So I know a person who was extremely tormented in his life because he gave his life to an institution, and the institution was ungrateful rather. And he succumbed to that ingratitude, and he died. Massive heart attack. He died, and I could relate to the life what he was subjected to because he gave his entire life to it, and that institution was ungrateful to him, and he couldn't tolerate, he couldn't stand that ingratitude. So again, if you expect gratitude from the receiver, is also an expectation.
Yeah. Understood.
So you do because you feel an obligation to do. You see, so sir, if somebody knocks at your door, it's an opportunity to serve so that you evolve, you become less selfish. So you encash an opportunity to serve so that you serve, it becomes you spiritually evolve. You purify yourself. But why do you have to have any other appendage to it by a motive or a recognition or name or a following? I could have done something 10 years ago. Let's say I've done $10,000 I've given to a temple. And the temple has carved my name permanently on the wall. How fair is it, sir? Why does one do it? I would never do it. I'd rather not do it than do it and get recognition. Just do it Do it and get done with it. That's it. No, I don't want anything else out of it.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. We'll come back. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.